What's up, everyone? This is Don Juan III, and today I'm bringing you a nowhere else on the internet coffee shop exclusive, the secret spoiler ending for HalloweenEnds. If you're new here, this is the Coffee Shop Comics, where we talk all things comics, anime, and manga. And if that interests you, hit the subscribe button, and we upload at least once a week. But before we get started, I have disclaimers. This will be spoilers for Halloween Kills and Ends, so you've been fair warned. Second, this is just a theory based on anecdotal evidence. I encourage you to look up my research. All my sources will have links in the description below. How I came up with this theory was just out of general curiosity, but the more I went down the rabbit hole, the more things connected. Any one piece of this puzzle by itself is not impressive, but as a whole, it really is something no one is going to see coming. I have searched the internet up and down to see if anyone else might possibly have the same idea, and I have not found anyone with such a theory like this with evidence that has not just been headcanon as of this recording. To break it down, we have to look at 5 individuals from the series. The director, David Gordon Green; lead actress, Jamie Lee Curtis; supporting actress, Andi Matichak; executive producer, Jason Blum; and last but not least, John Carpenter himself. I will start out with the director, David Gordon Green. In an interview at the 2015 Toronto International Film Festival, Green was answering questions on his film Our Brand is Crisis, which is a very politically charged film. He was asked, "Do you expect this film to spark controversy?" Quote, "No, I don't think so. At least it's not my hope. My hope is to start conversation and debate. It certainly didn't approach it with any sort of political agenda. But what I do think it does do is bring an entertaining light to the conversation of Americans' involvement in international politics. Why satire versus hard-hitting drama? Quote, we just didn't want any heavy-handed with any specific political message. We wanted to bring wit to our perspective so it doesn't condescend." During an interview with Empire Online, Green states if Kills was an expanse horror tale, Ends is instead a much more intimate movie. Quote, "It's kind of a coming-of-age film. It's a very different tone, and that's what excites me about it. It's to do the 3 chapters that I have been involved in to be very different from one another. They're all there to honor Carpenter, but not necessarily just to emulate him." Green has also stated in a separate interview, "I get engaged by doing something different. If I was going to be repetitive, I would just hand the reins off to someone else. When you have the opportunity with an established franchise, it's really fun to think how you can show different tones and perspectives and evolve." In an interview with uprocks.com, Green elaborates on the different Easter eggs throughout the movies and was asked about Halloween 3's Easter egg and the possible implications that it might have, stating that there's always been legality problems with licensing, and that's why it's really never been touched upon. Also, that Halloween 3 is canonical to the series and confirms Laurie Strode's and Michael Myers' blood relation, even though critics would try to say in Halloween Kills it was just a rumor. I would argue that that's just town gossip and unreliable at best. I think this is very interesting because Halloween 3 deals with a curse from an ancient Celtic deity than Michael Myers. Later on in the interview, Green is asked if when this movie takes place and if there's any political messaging in it. His response was with an astounding yes to both. Green's use of the word peculiar politics raises all different types of red flags for me. I know one of them is the unspecified virus from unknown origin, and the other one we're going to get to later on in the video. Moving to John Carpenter, and if you don't know who John Carpenter is, he is the co-writer and director of the original 1979 Halloween, and is also the producer and composer of Green's Halloween trilogy. Carpenter claims the goal is to end the franchise, but if something makes money, studios are going to ride that gravy train all the way to mashed potato town. For example, the Saw series and the Fast and the Furious franchise. Quote, "Let me explain the movie business to you. If you take a $sign and attach it to anything, there will be somebody who wants to do a sequel. It will live. If the $sign isn't big enough, no matter what, it will not live." Next, we have the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. Not only has she starred in 7 of the 13 Halloween movies, but holds the title for single longest canonical character arc in a horror franchise. In an interview with New Musical Express, Curtis states, "So there's one more film to be made, and I know what it's about, and it's going to blow people's minds open. It's going to make a lot of people very angry, and it's going to be shocking because it asks a lot of questions. So that's all I can tell you." When asked if she would do another Halloween after Ends, Curtis states, "I signed up because David Gordon Green wrote a very interesting script. The last thing I thought I would be doing is another Halloween movie. I had other stuff going on. I was very happy. But I was really impressed with his understanding of not only what happens to Laurie, but this now trilogy of stories. If another filmmaker comes along with an interesting story to tell, I'm never going to say I'm uninterested in telling that story." When asked if Green's trilogy could be beaten, Curtis then states, "I can't imagine it. It's unlikely to me. It would be shocking to me to imagine someone topping what David Green has done in a trilogy of movies. All directed by the same person, all made by the same crew, all acted by the same group of people. I would be shocked. But it's not impossible. Creativity is the source. It's the source of all of it. So if anyone comes up with something super creative, I would be happy to join them. I just find it hard to imagine that that's going to occur." Curtis is a very outspoken advocate on her political ideals. I am not going to state any of her ideals, nor do I have an opinion on them respectively. I have links in the description below where you can go and decide for yourself what they are. In a recent interview with People magazine, Jamie Lee Curtis's child revealed that they were a part of the LGBTQ community. Curtis states, quote, "It's speaking a new language. It's learning new terminology and words. I am new to it. I am not someone who's pretending to know much about it, and I'm going to blow it. I'm going to make mistakes. I would like to try to avoid the big mistakes. You slow your speech down a little, you become a little bit more mindful about what you say, how you say it. You still mess up. I mess up twice today. We're human." Next up is Andi Matichak. She plays Allison, the granddaughter of Laurie Strode. She has also played in HBO's The Orange is the New Black, which is very progressively left pro-LGBTQ+ series. Jamie Lee Curtis has also been showing Andi Matichak the ropes of the culturally woke Hollywood, and personally mentored Andi through the entire process of the Halloween trilogy. Quote, "She has been an incredible mentor to me this entire process. Before I even got down to set, she sent me a message to welcome me to the family and introduced herself, saying, 'We are so excited to have you here.' The second I got down there, she took me to dinner and gave me the full history lesson of Halloween, like start to finish, which was the best thing in the world, and from there on, she's really took me under her wing." Now, an interesting fun fact. Within the series of Halloween, the victim's average survival time is a little less than 4 seconds when Michael Myers is within arm's reach. Allison is the only exception to this. In Halloween Kills, Michael Myers took 11 seconds from the time he started to overwhelm Allison to when he got stabbed in the back with a pitchfork. This is 3 times longer than any other of his average kill times. Why is that? That just doesn't make sense. Or does it? I'll get back to this in just a second. But last we have producer Jason Blum, who also owns Blumhouse Productions. In his June 2022 ScreenRant.com interview, Blum was asked if he had seen HalloweenEnds. Blum responded, "I did. I saw it about 2 weeks ago. It's very good. I'm very excited. We have a few things to fix on it and finish, but I'm very excited for our last Halloween movie." Then he was asked, "Is that really going to be the last?" Quote, "I didn't say it was going to be the last Halloween movie. It's our last Halloween movie. We have no more rights to make any more Halloween." So it goes back to Malik Akkad, and what he does, only he knows. But we are done. And this is our last one, and I think people are going to be very happy. So after hearing all this, you're probably wondering, Don, where are you going with this? Okay. I do not believe that Jamie Lee Curtis was lying when she said that this was the last time she was going to play Laurie Strode, and this was going to be the last time Nick Castle was going to play Michael Myers. My theory is that they will gender swap Michael Myers. Now hear me out. All this evidence by itself individually doesn't hold a lot of meaning, but in its totality, it perfectly lines up. It would be very fitting for Jamie Lee Curtis to start her big screen career in the first Halloween movie and then get to retire at the end of the final Halloween. Also, Curtis, who is 62, gets to pass the torch down to a young, strong, upcoming female lead who is only 24 and is a perfect tribute to her child to honor their bravery coming out as a member of the LGBTQ+ community. I believe Jamie Lee Curtis, this would be her Hope Diamond on her tiara of filmography, her greatest achievement. By making Halloween 3 canonical, this sets up the idea for Michael Myers being more than a person and something that is metaphysical. I believe Laurie and Michael will end up killing each other or dying, and the curse of Michael Myers being passed down to Allison, which makes her the only living blood relative of Michael Myers. This is why Michael hesitated to kill Allison, because why would you kill your successor? Michael was able to sense that Allison was a blood relative, so even if his physical body were to die, the curse of Michael Myers would still live on through Allison. Why would Laurie Strode go directly against her own advice? In Halloween Kills, Laurie Strode states Michael cannot be killed with brute force. So why would she try? Oh, remember David Green's comment on peculiar politics? Well, the pandemic was the first one. The second one is gender swapping iconic characters. Andi Matichak would become the very first female lead horror villain in a major franchise and in the Big Five. The Big Five are considered the most iconic horror villains of all time. These are Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Pinhead, and Ghostface. It's like Jamie Lee Curtis passing the Scream Queen crown to her successor, but instead being the scared, helpless victim, Andi would be the overwhelmingly powerful antagonist of a very new, bold Halloween series to call her own, where the sky is the limit and can explore new parts of the Halloweenverse. That's something that simply cannot be done with any other franchise and can be successful no matter how much money you throw at it. The last Scream movie was a flop in theaters. Freddy Krueger hasn't been seen on the big screen in over a decade. The last Friday the 13th was over 2 years ago and is in copyright licensing limbo. Now, you're all probably like, Don, the new Hellraiser came out and Pinhead was gender swapped female. So I would have been wrong, but the new Hellraiser is a TV series, not a movie, so it doesn't really count. Not to mention Pinhead transcends human concepts. The real kicker is the director of the new Hellraiser series. It just so happens to be David Gordon Green. A coincidence? I don't think so. I believe the Hellraiser TV series was a proof of concept to be able to show that HalloweenEnds would be profitable. If this is done correctly, in my opinion, this honestly could be the very first big budget movie to use progressive leaning ideology, be monetarily successful, and enjoyable for everyone to watch. That's going to wrap it up for me. If you agree with my theory or enjoy this content, please like, share, subscribe. Also check out the other coffee shop members. They have some other great content. It's been your host, Don Juan III, and I'll catch you all on the next one.